It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by War Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska. Place your sports bets. Make sure you get out to the casinos in Lincoln and in Omaha. Get out there. You can do your straight bets, your parlays, props. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Like Kanye, it's not really me.
It's not really you?
No, if you see me, I'm somebody else.
Who are you today? Where's the real you? Are you at War Sportsbook?
Yeah.
You placing some bets?
Let's go, baby. Probably going to order some food with your $40.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to cash in.
Everybody tells me they have good food.
Or you could go take the $40, put it on a game, see if you can
What do we like?
What
do we like?
What do we like today? That's an interesting question.
What do we like today? There's nothing great.
Yeah, I'm not feeling a ton of what's happening today.
Yeah.
But here's a question I would like to bet on.
What's that?
Is the question that our guy Wyatt asked us
That's a
earlier
hard
in the
one.
show. It is a hard one.
Yeah.
There's no free money, even when I think there is. So the question to reset here was A.J. Allen, who was at Nebraska, transferred to Miami. He's had a few moments at Miami, but he's gotten kind of buried on the depth chart a little bit there. And the question was, do you think he would be better off at Nebraska or did the right thing in transferring to Miami? Mm-hmm. And you were a big A.J. Allen guy.
Yeah, I am a big A.J. Allen.
You liked the way he ran the football, right?
I did.
Would you, before we get to did he make the right move or not?
Well, clearly he did because he made it, so it's his.
That's not always true. You can make it your own and still be a bad idea.
Yeah, but he's got to own that. That ain't for me to own.
I mean, I can still own it, but it's still a bad decision.
Yeah, that's called perspective. He gets his own.
I own the first marriage. Doesn't mean it was a good idea.
Touche.
But you're sitting there. You go, okay. If he's still in the room at Nebraska, do you like him stylistically?
Yeah, he would, I think.
In a way that maybe some of the other backs have struggled.
I do. But he's still got to run under the same confines, right? The reps. Right. He would just be one more mouth to feed.
Do you think he's a little more instinctive?
Yes.
So that, I think, would help here a lot.
I mean, maybe.
Because if we're talking about what we talked about yesterday, right? If you're having an issue with certain not getting enough reps, one of the things that can overcome that is being a really instinctual runner. Mm-hmm. So that his particular skill set, I think, would actually be really useful here.
Yeah.
Whereas another guy that's really talented, but maybe he's more of a work up a lather guy, mm-hmm. would not do as well here, even if there's talent is relatively equal.
It's interesting that he's just not playing a ton.
Yeah, I think it's a little strange.
I don't know about his health, but I mean, he had the big ones against A&M, Florida
mm-hmm.
A&M, and Ball State early, but he's less than 200 yards on the season, so I don't want to extrapolate too much.
And he had a little bit better last year.
What did he go for?
I thought it was like 450. I might be off on that. I'm trying to bring it up. Surprise, my internet's not working again.
580 maybe?
Maybe a little more. Maybe it was a little more.
But anyway, yeah, it's not
a huge number.
Yeah, it's not eye-popping. So I don't know. But the reason that question was interesting to me is because I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, he met your eye.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have a very specific thing you kind of look for with running backs.
So, but I don't. I mean, that's not the answer to.
No, you don't stick him in this running back room and all of a sudden.
Because I still think some of the things that we talked about with Schaefer, which, by the way, was
360 last year,
was pretty good.
Schaefer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Schaefer is not bad sometimes.
Like that. I just like the nuances within the conversation about reps versus the number of plays versus, being good at a little versus being okay at a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd rather be good at a little.
Yeah, somebody asked me something a couple weeks ago, and it was I think I was either...
Which is maybe my issue with Cooper Flagg, but anyway, go ahead.
Hot take. When I was talking quick game versus what we'd actually call a screen game and stuff like that, and then not get into minutia. And I was in the booth, and I either come out for halftime or the quarter or something like that, and I was talking to one of the former players, and I was just like, man, if Fedoni would only get vertical,
mm-hmm.
right, as opposed to kind of getting lateral and going along the sidelines, just get vertical. And he looked at me, and I won't give him up. I mean, he can share if he wants, but he's like, yeah, I mean, maybe you shouldn't ask a guy that's coming off 2 ACLs to do that.
Mm.
And it's the first, like, literally. I mean, I think about it a lot, but that's the first time. Kind of like the EJ Barthel question a couple weeks. Like, you think I would think about a lot of things that have never really come up before.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot out there.
That had never come up before. Like, why would you put him in that position to have to make that move?
When you've got some other guys.
Yeah.
And I think he's better at other things.
So,
I think he is pretty good at getting down the seam.
Those intermediate routes, he's hard to tackle in the open field. But I
And
think
he's
that
pretty
is
good
the
at-
problem. He's hard to tackle in the open field. So it's like, get him the ball in space and let him go.
Right.
Just not laterally.
But those two things aren't created equal,
they don't
right?
they don't have to be lateral. You can get him in space vertically as
right.
well.
Because being hard to tackle is not a universal thing.
So
like Ja'Cory Barney is hard to tackle in a different way than Thomas Vanoni is hard to tackle.
Right. So it just got me thinking, because the question was rhetorical, right? Like, well,
why would you have a guy coming off a couple bust ACLs?
So I wondered, I'm like, fudge, could I fast forward to today and think, you know what? Maybe you'll see different guys, similar concepts, but we'll be playing to their strengths more.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Because that's a legit, that's why that's one of the reasons you kind of make the move, right? Especially if we've talked about
You're like, hey, it's a good concept,
all
but
the
maybe
things
not
that
with that
coach,
guy.
that Coach Rule said.
Yeah.
Concept, when he's like, we do 95% pretty well. These are some things we need to tweak. And we heard Yogi say, and believe me, Yogi's not going to say, like, if he doesn't think there were good offensive concepts, he would say,
No, he doesn't owe anybody anything.
no. And you can't lob him softballs.
No.
Like, he's like, I don't know.
He's going to answer.
Yeah, he's going to answer, right?
Yeah.
So
And we didn't lead him into Satterfield at all.
now, and maybe those things will come to fruition. Well, you'll see similar plays, just different people doing it.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I said this earlier, I still think, especially offensively, it will be people that you've seen do it before.
Yeah.
Just maybe, or play before, I should say.
Yeah.
Right?
So you don't think you're going to have,
So maybe there is more Barney.
Yeah.
Maybe there is more Lloyd.
but probably not rolling out like Malachi Coleman at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
Because that's a name that comes up a lot with
Yeah,
people
or
because he played last year.
Carter or whomever else,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Which Carter's played some, but not a.
and listen, I get it. Somebody, was it Wyatt that asked the question? I get why, like, if, because everybody's trying to read through the cryptic tweets, which, by the way, like, one thing that I would tell a player,
Don't do that.
if you don't want something open to interpretation,
Don't leave it open for.
don't leave it open for interpretation.
But they do want it open.
But if you do want it open for interpretation, then
be ready for
by all means.
and be ready for the blowback.
Just don't want,
don't
just
be
don't.
like, whoa,
I can't
whoa,
believe
whoa.
people read into that. Yeah,
yeah.
you can't.
It's like, because that was your intention. Listen, I've been immature before, and sometimes still am. Like, I've put out a cryptic tweet or two, and I knew exactly what I was doing. Everybody does. Everybody wants to. Oh, is he okay? Is it what's going on?
Yeah.
here?
So I didn't, I didn't lend that any credence, but I did understand Wyatt's point about, or his question.
Have they used him well?
Have they used him well? And it's a two-way street, right?
Did he want to get on the field?
Yeah.
And has he done the things necessary
And they already made some concessions, right? Like they moved you
him.
outside.
where they
So
needed
you
a little
could-
more help, or maybe had more opportunity? Theoretically,
So there's the rub.
yeah,
Because
that's a
he could,
two-way street.
yeah, because Carter could say, or his family or whomever could say, well, if you needed the help,
How come I'm not playing more?
Why don't you let me help?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer would be, but there's
Well, there's a couple ways to different say that, right? Like
the question could be like, who are you replacing?
yeah, because there's
Like-
just because there's more opportunity in a room doesn't mean there's a lot of opportunity in a room,
Yeah.
right? It's like just because you're the best transfer portal quarterback doesn't mean you're a good quarterback.
So that's just an example
Yeah.
of you gave me Shavers and
McGahee,
McGahee,
yeah,
right? But I did like how you kind of doubled back and said, yeah, maybe no the jack position. Well, it depends. Like, which MJ Sherman are we getting?
sure,
Right?
yeah,
If, Prince Will has been a little MIA. There's some guys that it's like,
and we've seen McGahee play more at those spots.
are we developed? Like, that's. So I don't think structurally you'll see a ton of variation. You just may see a lot of similar guys doing more of what they do.